Okay, everyone, let's take a look at today's lesson, page 66 to 74. Now look at the paper. First sentence, we have, the remaining teachers were frozen in fear. They watched, paralyzed, as the talking toilets came near. Then they snapped their fingers. Okay, you can see the first usage for our homework is remaining. My example is there are 16 students at AK class. 4 students handed in the homework late. Uh-oh. The remaining students finished their homework on time. Good job. And later, we are going to take a look at frozen in fear. So scared you don't want to move. So everyone knows Tammy doesn't like cats. So when Tammy walked into the classroom, she saw 10 cats inside. She was frozen in fear. Well, frozen in fear equals paralyzed. So you can say the sentence again using paralyzed. When Tammy walked into the classroom, she saw 10 cats inside. She paralyzed. Uh-oh, poor Tammy. Now, let's look at sentence number 2. A silly heroic smile came over his face as he stood defiantly before his foes. He would put a stop to the vile villains fearlessly. Okay, we can see the first usage, heroic. It comes from this word, hero. Do you know who my superhero, who my favorite superhero is? I'll tell you next time. So hero, Captain Underpants thinks he is a hero. That's why he has a heroic smile. But he's not really a hero. That's why we say his smile is silly. So if we have hero, we would have the bad guys. They are the foes or enemies or villains. So hero always fight with these people, foes, enemies, villains. And who is vile? Of course. Vile equals evil. That means the villains, the enemies, the foes, they are vile, bad. Okay, let's look at the usage defiantly. I have a good example. When Adelaide said students had to make 10 sentences for homework, Olivia raised her hand defiantly and said, "No way." Uh-oh, Olivia. Now, next sentence is about put a stop to something. On the weekend, Adelaide ordered a lot of junk food on Foodpanda. She had to put a stop on this bad habit. When you see me again, maybe I am double-sized. Uh-oh. Okay, now let's look at fearless, this word. If we have fear, that means we are scared, 很害怕. Less means no. So if you have fearless, that means you are not scared. Let's look at another example. Care means 小心在乎. If you have care plus less, that means careless. You don't pay attention. So you are 粗心的. However, on the other hand, let's look at fear plus full. That means you are fearful, you are scared of something. This is 肯定的. So if you use care plus full, that means you are careful, 你是在乎的, so you are 小心的, careful. Okay, let's move on to the next sentence. Number 3, he quickly collected the toupee and shoved it into his backpack. Then he slid down the flagpole and ran off after Captain Underpants. Toupee, look here. This is the toupee. Uh-oh. All right, then we can see the word shove. Max was reading a book in English class. When Adelaide walked by Max, he quickly shoved the book into Kevin's bag. Good job, Max. And let's look at slid. Slid is the past tense of slide. Now run off after. Everyone was lining up to get the ticket, but Adelaide suddenly ran off after a man because she thought it was her Prince Charming. So what's Prince Charming? That means the white horse prince. Who is that? Okay, let's look at sentence 4. Hearing that the two boys were being chased by a ferocious-looking toilet with sharp pointed teeth, she stood in a daze. How gullible she was. Okay, here we have a word called ferocious-looking. Most of the time, Adelaide is a gentle teacher, so sweet. However, she will become a ferocious-looking teacher if you don't do what she wants you to do. Be careful. All right, next usage, we are talking about in a daze. That means you heard something and you didn't know what to say or what to do. So when the parents heard the news about no school, they were in a daze. They didn't want to have their kids at home all day long. Poor parents. And then let's take a look at the next usage. It's very important. As we use how plus adj and plus 主词 and 动词. Don't forget the verb here can also be a be verb. Remember there are 5 be verbs we said in class. Okay, so if I say the Chinese said 学习英文是多么有趣呀. That means the adj we will use interesting. The 主词 subject, the thing is 学习英文. Then you can say the sentence like how interesting learning English is. Then the next example, 艾德蕾看起来是多么聪明呀. So you can know that adj we will use smart. Then the 主词 of course is 艾德蕾. And then the verb here is look. That's why you would say how smart Adelaide looks. Don't forget the S, looks. Now let's move on to sentence 5. When he was finished commandeering the underwear of local civilians, the school was overrun with chaos. Here we have a word called commandeer. So I have a sentence using commandeer. The police stopped my car. They needed to commandeer my car because they were chasing the villain. But don't forget, my car is over 23 years old. Now let's look at local civilians, the people who live in a place. So the local civilians in Taipei now, they are very worried about the COVID-19 problem. We are luckier. We are in a safer place in Inland. Then let's look at be overrun with. Use be verb. After the birthday party, the living room was overrun with dirty cups, plates, tissue, and food. So be overrun with. Be you can change to other be verbs. Remember, is, am, are, was, or were. Finally, let's look at sentence number 6. They stood on the front lawn of the school, completely surrounded by hungry, drooling toilets. They chanted, eating up everyone. Okay, let's look at the usage of completely. After I stayed at home for over 2 weeks, I completely forgot about what day it was every day. I think it is Wednesday today. All right, next usage is surround. 3 cats surrounded the mouse. Did they want to eat the mouse? Don't worry, they were playing together. Okay, next one, we are looking at drool. The verb drool. What do you want to have for dinner today? My mouth is drooling when I think of hot pot. I really miss hot pot. What did everyone eat at home? Okay, these are the 6 sentences for Captain Underpants Captain Underpants, pages 66 to 74. Don't forget to finish your homework. See you next time.